I'm sorry, I am sitting today, but it's about the best I can do. So we are going to be reviewing Press Policy 118. And we're going to start with 2.265, Title IX grievance procedure. So as you can see, this is just basically a read over. But if you turn to page 7, so we have 56 pages tonight. So I would appreciate it if you could just hold your questions and write them down, and we will get to them at the end of the meeting. So let's look at number 2, please. And we are all educated in here. I do not need to read that. If you see it is in green, this is what ISB is recommending that we keep. And this is uniform grievance procedure. Are there any questions? Does everyone agree to that? Susan, page 7.
I thought you were gonna wait till the end.
Okay.
for questions.
Got it. You got it?
Okay. So everything is green, is what they want us to do.
Right. Make a little note if you wanna change or recommend something. If you turn to page 9, all they did was add Title IX ordinance. That's it in green. There's nothing new there. And that's still under uniform grievance procedure. Page 10, second paragraph. The pink, they deleted and they added the green. Please read that. And the last paragraph, the green. Superintendent, are we still keeping these coordinators? Should that still be there? Are you gonna change them?
So yeah, we will have a Title IX coordinator.
Okay,
Yeah, we're not changing that.
okay, so, okay.
And we'll update the name, but I don't think we need.
Yeah, we'll have it updated by the first week.
The first revision?
Yeah, so we'll have it for the next board meeting, May 13th.
Okay,
We'll be able to add in who that Title IX coordinator is. So
Okay.
we're transparent there.
identity protection, 4.15, page 13. Go to the very bottom paragraph. In green, this is what ISB is recommending. And they've removed awarding an agency to entity. Policy 480, accounting and audits, on page 16. You can see where they deleted the 5 and put 10,000. Still under audit, page 17. Look at the green. On page 19, equal employment opportunities and minority recruitment. Go to the last paragraph, please. As you can see, that has been completely deleted. And in the green is what they are recommending. Page 23, 5.20, workplace harassment prohibited. Once again, the green for those that don't look, is what they're recommending, and you can see they took out that last paragraph or that last sentence.
Are you talking about page 24?
24, yes. On page 25. They just took out based and just put sexual in there. That's it. And non-discrimination, discrimination, they moved. They kept title. I would like to stay on this page for a minute. Could everybody please read reports that involve alleged incidents of sexual abuse of child by school personnel? If you could just go over that for a second, please.
What's that?
Page 25. Reports that involve alleged incidents of sexual abuse of a child by school personnel. If everyone could please read that. At the bottom. What I'm gonna say about this is that we have really been on top of this, wouldn't you say, Superintendent?
I would say so,
We
yes.
really have been on top of this. The minute we hear anything, there's an investigation. That's why I wanted everyone to read it and, you know, transparency, so everybody knows we're on it. We take this very, very seriously. And I believe everyone now is trained in faith law, is that correct? That everyone is trained in faith law?
I haven't done training since I've been here, but I believe faith law training happened at the beginning of the year, this
Okay.
first statewide.
Okay.
What training was that on?
Faith law,
Faith law.
Face law.
that's how school districts have to report. When they're doing, yeah, so when they're doing background checks, any of that, in their, somebody's personnel file has been shared
Oh,
with other districts.
oh,
It doesn't include just accusations.
okay.
I'm really proud of that face law. Face law came from, when I was at the state, I led the Make Safe Task Force, which was an entire task force around recommendations to the state legislature around how to protect children in schools. And so Faith used to come to our meetings as just a participant. So I got to know her and talk to her, and then we connected her with some lawmakers, because she was living in Texas. I think she might still be in Texas. But she grew up around here, and she was abused as a child by a teacher. And so the conversation we had with her was around, why is it, she was really pushing for a national registry. Like, that's what she really wanted, because what's happening is, you could be teaching in Illinois,
Yeah.
go to Indiana,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
none of this
right.
follows you unless it was confirmed. And what a lot of staff will do is they get accused and then they'll resign
Yeah, and it goes.
in some type of somehow they'll negotiate it, right? We're gonna resign, you're gonna stop the investigation. So with face law, even if it's just an accusation, we still do it.
Yeah.
Right? So we didn't get the national registry, but at least we got it here.
Oh, yeah, the state of yeah. It will be good having that.
Yeah, I'll see you next time she's in town.
Yeah.
She can come talk to us.
Because then I need to take here, we going somewhere else.
That's much easier said than done at the national level right now. Yes. The Crown Act is passed in 20 some odd states and it's not passed federally, so it's really hard to get.
Get it out.
There are no changes on 5.60 with expenses. That would be page 27, 28, 29 through 31. No recommended changes. 5.100 staff development program. You turn to page 33. Ongoing professional development, that last number 1. That's where your changes are. Page 34. There are changes on page 34, specifically number 12. $34.56. You see it, Daphne? Page 2. Please look at that. In page 35, yeah. 33, let me go back. Where, I'm sorry.
Number 1, on 30.
Okay, you're still there, okay.
So we're taking it out for staff and teachers, administrators.
So it just says all personnel, so they're just putting all personnel in there.
Everybody.
That's everybody,
That's everybody.
yeah. Mhm.
But the question is really not the policy there, it's how are the staff development dollars distributed to ensure fairness across all of the employees in the district. Generally, you have a budget for your staff development, so you're making sure that everybody gets staff development.
Yeah, just make sure it's not just teachers.
Right, yeah, that's why they struck that out.
Distribution amongst
That's why they struck it out there.
I'm saying just the word.
It's everybody now. Can we go on?
Yes,
We
ma'am.
still need some more time, okay. 34, page 34, number 12. Bless you, I'm sorry. And then there are changes on page 35. $6.150 home and hospital instructions. They've made changes to that.
But these provisions are very specific, correct, to who's a parent and a student or someone who's expecting a child.
Ms. Simpson, you want us to wait till the end and to ask questions, right?
You've made notes.
Yes.
On page 38, you see where this is the recommendation that you want us to use. Access to electronic networks. The change suggested is on page 40 in green.
You said you wanted to wait to ask the question.
Yeah, because I even have some questions about this one.
Yeah,
I think everybody has questions about this one.
so did you want to wait or?
We're gonna wait, yeah. Just get through this and just, put a little here by it. $7.70 attendance in truancy.
Which one?
Attendance in truancy, 7.70, page 42.
Okay.
I have a question about this one myself. If we turn to page 43, you will see the changes. continuation on page 44. Recommendation, kids and brain. Seven point 185, teen dating violence prohibited. As you can see, they just took out sexual and just put sex in there. That's the only recommendation that they made on this one. B, if you're looking at. Page 47, administering medicine to students. That's the recommendation.
This recommendation,
Diabetes, and epilepsy.
so,
It's 51, 7.315, restrictions on publications high school. If you turn to page 52. Made changes to number 3 and number 6. And number 6. On page 53, there's a change. Seven point 340 student records. The only changes that have been suggested are on page 55. And that's it. Let's go over our questions. What do we want to discuss first? Because I know I have this AI. It's like, because I know students use ChatGPT.
What page is that one?
That would be page 40 of 56.
I was just wondering when the superintendent was gonna present the plan, because it requires him to present an AI plan, so I was just wondering at what time of the year would that plan be presented?
I am gonna go to ChatGPT and type in plan. and see what comes up.
That was class. That was classic.
Because I do think it's very important.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, and I do think we need to have a plan in place, not just
Yeah.
for our students, but for our staff as well,
Sure.
on how we're appropriately using it, because I think AI is a great thing to use, but it cannot be a replacement for learning.
Well, also, you have to be extremely careful because it hallucinates. It has hallucinations, so when you put a search into ChatGPT, you could come up with a lot of erroneous information.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Unless,
and
you know,
the
so
resources that are
the
on the
key
web.
is really learning how to frame your search.
Right.
And then validating the information that you get, because
I am
the
gonna have some look.
hallucinations are very, very serious.
I'm gonna look into this. So there's a task force that sent a report to the legislature, it looks like this winter. So I'm actually on it right now, kind of looking to see who's on that team. I need to read this and get a better understanding of like what were those recommendations that came to, that led to this state law, or and the passage of this being put into press, to get a better understanding of like what they essentially mean by this plan, and see if there's any timelines for us.
Okay.
But this is going to, I mean, this is going to take several months.
Oh, absolutely.
And I do think it's going to, I do think we should bring together a coalition of teachers, students, staff members, administrators to really explore like, what should go into this plan and how we're using AI in the coming school year. But hopefully we have something in place.
And making sure that in a lot of schools, and even colleges,
Right.
professors and teachers are checking to make sure that kids are really learning and not just using the AI tools to come up with the answers.
I know you're in the classroom, are you guys using any type of AI checker?
So, well, for myself, I use Magic School, ChatGPT. When I start seeing similar answers, I'll put in the topic and then I see, oh, gee, it's everything, and they got all the bolding and stuff, and then there's always the classic. And if you are using the McGraw-Hill textbook, blah, 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 and that kid has that in their answer, I actually did put the comment, tell me you use ChatGPT without telling me you did.
Oh, so they let you know, they're supposed to let you know what reference they use?
No. I could tell that because they think it said if you are using such and such, or
yeah.
it will say this is from ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They just copy and paste
They
it.
copy
They
it,
don't even
exactly.
they don't even bother taking it out.
Right.
So I mean, but when I start seeing the identical answers, I know, and then I'll go right into ChatGPT. I mean, I am looking for a good, reliable online AI checker. If I do have the opportunity to go to this conference over the summer, I know that at the National AP Conference, they're going to have a session on AI in the classroom and things. So this is the new place where we're at.
Yeah.
But I'm excited because I can see it. But there is a really good one that I use for myself as a teacher called Magic School. And that has helped me like with writing rubrics and stuff like that so that I can make sure that I'm hitting on things that I need. And you can just say, here, include this, include that.
Yeah, it's definitely a useful tool for teachers.
So I have students who are using, well, I had a young lady who was using ChatGPT to do her lesson. And when I read it, I didn't think anything of it. But what she puts in is like, tailor my paper on the 5th grade reading level. So whatever her disability was, she put that into ChatGPT and then tailored it to like a 5th or 4th grade reading level. So if as I read it, I'm like, okay, she could have wrote this. So that's how smart they are now. They tailored it to 4th and 5th grade reading level. So you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the more specific
wow.
you are in your search,
Yeah.
the more it's going to refine.
She
your
sat
search.
down and showed me how to do it. I'm like, so they are using ChatGPT. But some of them, like you said, just copy and paste. And it's at a college level, so when you read, you automatically know that, okay, you know
Yeah,
how
right
to
there,
I
right.
mean, we've been
What scares me is their ability to write, to learn how to write. Do you understand what I'm
To
saying?
put
You're
it
talking
on.
about learning how to write without using, an AI tool yourself.
in foreign language, we've had the battle of the translator for the last 15, 20 years
Yeah.
or so. Once Google Translate came out,
Yeah.
and I was always able to tell when they would use a translator in the early days because, if they use something like, a colloquialism that we have in English, like, my mom went through the roof. Okay, it would literally translate it into French. My mom went through the roof, which is not an expression that exists in French. And so that's when I would be able to give it back. But otherwise, what I also know is when French 1 student, French 2 student gives me something written, wow, we haven't even learned the Gusto Cafe. How did you do this? And then I give it back to them and I say, you're gonna redo this in the stuff we learned, or else it's a 0, So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff. I think the best thing I ever heard was sometimes my grandmother speaks French to me. Really, I'm gonna call grandma up and see if she wants to practice with me sometime. And grandma told me she didn't know a single word.
But to your question, it'll probably take about 3 or 4 months to develop a plan, because it's gonna be a plan we have to know. Right, so, something that's actually.
Right, because language absolutely means nothing.
Right, right.
So I have a question, it's page 37.
37,
Page 37.
of the diabetes.
Oh, it's 2, well, I have 2 students. I have a student who is pregnant, and I have a student who's a diabetic. So the student that is pregnant now, she's I guess she's on homebound, but we haven't been notified that she's on homebound. So my question is, and no one contacted us as a teacher to tell us that this girl was pregnant or that the student was pregnant. So how does that work? Do they contact us and let us know? I mean, I could tell after a while that she was
Yes,
pregnant.
if
But
the
do
student's
they
going on
contact
homebound,
us?
if the student's going on a homebound, the teacher should be contacted. They should be in coordination with the homebound teacher to make sure they're getting the assignments and the work. And if that's not happening, send me an email and we'll address
Do
it.
you know who's responsible for that?
Which school is that?
Who's responsible for that? We used to have the TAP program.
They homebound is the one.
Right, so we have a special ed coordinator, and they'll help oversee the homebound for the district.
Okay, and the second question, I have a student who's a diabetic who passed out in my classroom, and I didn't know that he was a diabetic. I guess we could look on Power School, but is there a way that we can be contacted to let us know that that student is, because when he passed out, I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong? He woke back up and he said, Ms. Smith, I'm a diabetic, I need to go take my insulin. And he can have his insulin on here right now and keep it in the nurse's office. But with this policy, they can keep it on them. His
Well, some of it has to be
insulin.
refrigerated.
Oh, yes.
You had to refrigerate,
Yeah, we just did some,
Yeah, but it didn't.
we just did some
It was
updated
a type
training
1 diabetic.
with our nurses on we just did some
Yeah.
diabetes training for our nurses
Oh, okay.
in the past few weeks.
Oh, good. That was my question.
But I think what you're also saying is the notification.
The notification, because you can.
So what you're telling me is that it's not enough that it's in the Power School.
No,
Got it. Okay.
we just have that emergency alert.
Yeah,
all
that's what I was
we
gonna
have.
say, that emergency alert,
And that's
receive
all
that
we
red
have.
little thing
Yeah.
in our school, but
It's not in his IEP.
it should be an IUP. That's when I was working in nurse office. We
Or
all-
I'm looking at this item, I'm looking at this item.
It's likely, if it's not a special education, if it's not an IEP student, it's likely in the Bible.
Right, if it's not, because if you're not IUP.
Well, you may have a 504.
That's what I'm saying.
Either way, you
Right,
gotta look
yeah,
and
how-
find out first, because it might be there, before you say it's not there.
Yeah, I think they do be in there, because the nurses have to put them in, the nurse, secretaries have to put them in there.
As a special education, you did it.
No, it could be in there,
But you didn't.
but.
You said
It
it's
could
an
be in there,
emergency
but,
store.
yeah, so if you have it could be in there, but we need another notification to let us know this student is a diabetic.
Yes,
We
that's
may not
likely,
read their
yeah.
entire IEP.
That is
And
likely.
this kid passed out, so I'm like, okay, what's going on?
But
So
see,
it's something.
at PACE, what we do, because I work with the nurse directly, we inform the teachers of medical alerts of each student.
Yeah.
So the main office, we have a copy of PACE Academy. And then the teachers, each teacher knows which of their students has a medical situation.
Yeah.
And we have students who have to take medication first thing in the morning. After their breakfast, they go to the nurse. If the nurse happens to not be at that particular location on that day, the teacher or the administrator on site gives the medication to the student. But I in the main office have a list of any medical alert students, because we do need to be aware of who we need to immediately contact the ambulance, of who gets certain medication and things like that. So I would believe each teacher should be aware of the medical issues and concerns of their students, not in detail, but, just to be aware. I myself am diabetic, so my office knows.
So without in the nurse office, they use, that was the responsibility of the secretary for the nurse, when a kid have a plan, to put that information in that kid's file, and it alerts every teacher. So then you send it to the teacher. So you have a schedule, and you see they schedule of each one of the teachers, and we have to send something to each one of those teachers.
Yeah.
So I think part of this is a communication issue as well.
Yeah.
Right, so I'm old school, so back in the day, we used to print every IEP summary page and every 504 page and give it to every single teacher, and our teachers would have it in a binder. Our student folders, if there was a medical alert, were read, right? Like, so we had those systems in place, but then technology came along. And so now what we're doing, instead of having all of that, we do a training. We used to have teachers sign in saying that they've been trained on where to find this information, that they have access to this information, and it's that responsibility of the teacher. But there's, with that, there's a trade-off, right? It's a little bit easier, but we don't have that physical piece of paper in your hand that you refer back to. And it's like, as a principal, I used to know, like, I'm making all these copies, I'm giving it to this teacher, they're signing for it, we know where it is. So I think what we just need to do as a district is kind of look at what we used to do to what we're doing now and what's actually making sense. Because to your point, we need to know every child, not just for medical alerts, but for all of their needs. We need to know that every teacher knows them, understands them, and is using them.
See, our director, Mr. James, he's still kind of maybe old school per se, because he does say, my suggestion will be you do keep a file, a paper file for each student. I have a file for all of 75 kids in the school, but each teacher also has a student file with that information. So what if we use extra paper? That's okay, because sometimes you cannot rely on technology or electricity. You cannot be looking, hoping to find all the information all out of each.
But I know the teachers don't keep a
But the teachers don't.
We don't have a
No, because the teacher has a paper file. How are they managing them?
Yeah.
How are they locked? They should be locked up. That's
Oh, they
that
are.
information is
They
up.
are.
So each teacher, make sure they lock them up in their,
Yeah, they have a file with the documents.
That's a challenge, yeah, to me, that's why if it's in the automated system, and you have to use a password to get to the information, that would cut out, somebody leaving out some child's medical record and some other kid seeing it and running around telling everybody that the kid has this and the kid has that.
Yeah.
How do you guys, when you give it to the teacher, you have
They have a filing cabinet, they have a file cabinet, and it's locked every day. Every time the teacher steps out, that cabinet is locked.
We hope.
Well,
I'm just saying, I mean, anybody can make a mistake.
We're just having 5 students, so that could be easy to kind of make.
Yeah, it's easier to manage because they're.
Right, 209 is under this.
No,
Yeah.
if it's done in an automated system, it requires you to insert a password in order to get that information. You're securing that medical information,
So my next
which is
question,
extremely
the nurse has a file cabinet.
subject to the Privacy Act.
I'm sorry, Ms. Smith.
also my next question is, when the student passed out, I call the nurse. But if he does it again, I'm calling 911 because it took a while for the nurse to get there. So if it happens again, I can call 911 because it said call 911 because his mother asked me to call 911.
If you're ever in doubt, call 911.
Okay, so that's what we need to see.
I mean, and if it's to the point where a student's not conscious, call 911. Call us.
Because he kept saying, I feel okay. Call the nurse. But by the time we called the nurse, he had his head down.
And some of our nurses are certified.
He's on the other side of the building.
Yeah, in Chicago public schools, many of them don't even have nurses every day, so just imagine that.
Those are my only questions. The pregnant girl with the diabetes.
Any more questions? Well, here comes the hard part. I want to thank the policy committee. We have worked very, very hard. I want to thank my sorors for encouraging me to take on this momentous task. I've done what I was supposed to do. We are no longer getting charged by the state, so thank God. I have saved the district money. That was part of what I ran on. So I'm done. I'm done. Somebody else can take over now. My legacy is secure.
Thank you.
Thank you for all your work.
And some of you may know, some of you may not know. These last couple of weeks have been very difficult for me. That's why I am sitting down. I just got out the house. Saturday was my first day that I actually ventured out. And what did I do? Community service. It was in my blood. Community service both times. So thank you all. Thank you, audience, for watching, and please eat and you just sit around and talk. But we're done. All right. It's a wrap.
Good job.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Eat.
Yeah.